Hello and welcome everybody, my name's Rose and I really love Splatoon and cosplaying from Splatoon. So in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I got this look on my face. So let's get started. I've already washed and moisturized my face so it's nice and clean, and I'm going to start off with a primer. This is the No Problem Primer from Touch and Soul. It's a pretty nice primer. It's nice and silky on my skin, which I appreciate. And primers, in theory, are supposed to provide a base for your foundation to better stick to. I believe they're more helpful for oily skin, and I'm a little bit more on the dry skin, though I am definitely a bit combo. But I still find that they're helpful. This one's supposed to smooth out the appearance of your skin, and texture is definitely a issue that I have on my face. So I'm gently patting it in, and then I'm going to let it dry before moving on. When I'm doing cosplay makeup, I like to put on my wig cap right around at this point after I've put on primer, but before I've started applying foundation, because as you can see, it's not very glamorous putting on the wig cap. I have accidentally made a bit of a mess before, rubbing foundation off. So this is a good time to put it on, and excuse the awkward appearance going forward. Wig caps are not that cute, but they're helpful for cosplay, keeping your hair in place so that it does not poke through your wig. So next we're moving on to foundation. I'm using the CYO Long Lasting Life Proof Foundation. This is in shade 101, which is gonna look a little light on my skin, but I swear when it blends in, it does actually match me pretty well. The next shade up, 102, is also a really good match for me. When you're applying your foundation, try not to streak it all over your face. You're going to want to concentrate it on places where you feel like you're going to need the most coverage. So for me, that's definitely my forehead, my nose, and my cheeks, and then I just put a little bit on my chin, but mostly I try to cover up the redness on my cheeks. Once you have it sitting on your face, you're going to dab it in with your tool of choice. You could use a brush to blend it in. I prefer to use a sponge because I like the finish better. It usually looks a lot more seamless and looks more skin-like than a brush, which sometimes looks a little bit streaky or emphasizes texture on my skin. So you're just gonna go through, blend it all in, and then we're gonna move on to the next step. Blending, blending, blending. Blend it all over, down the neck. It's so seamless. Next is concealer. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Light. The reason you want to switch to concealer to cover up anything that's still poking through your face is because you don't want to cake on your foundation. If your foundation ends up being too heavy, it's usually very, very noticeable, both in real life and also in photography or videography. Because concealer is much more opaque, it's great for covering up acne or other blemishes such as melasma, and also, of course, covering up dark circles underneath your eyes. However, because we're going to be putting on a ton of eyeliner to do the signature Squid Kid look, you do not have to cover up your dark circles. We're going to make them even darker, but that's to come later. Speaking of, it's eyeliner time! My go-to eyeliner is the NYX Epic Ink. It is a liquid liner. It has a very nice tip, and basically we're just gonna draw over our face. So you can start off by being a little bit messy when you're making out the shape, but I try to err on the side of caution, and I will make it smaller to begin with because you can always add on more eyeliner later to make the black mask appear larger. I should also note that I did apply eye primer. This is a must if you have particularly oily eyelids. That's just going to make sure that, normally this is for eyeshadow, but in this case it's going to make sure that the combination of the liquid eyeliner and later on the powdered eyeshadow stay in place and don't transfer all over the place. Because you'll see later on that when I'm applying the eyeliner to my eyelids, it takes a lot of coats to make it nice and opaque, and that's because I do have some fairly oily eyelids. but I swear it's worse without the eye primer. Once you have the outer shape done, grab a white eyeliner pencil. I'm using one by NYX. I do like their eyeliner pencils quite a lot. I think they glide on quite well. And you're going to use this to line the waterline of your eye. You want to be gentle, make sure you're not tugging, be very careful if you're sensitive around the eyes. And the point of this step is to make your eyes appear larger because the black is gonna be a lot. Next, go back to the black liquid eyeliner and line your eyes like you would normally. You want to have a thick upper line that we're then going to progressively make thicker and thicker and thicker until we basically cover the entire eyelid. If you have access to a fatter eyeliner pen, that can definitely speed up this process. I have used a thicker chisel tip black eyeliner from NYX that doesn't hold up quite as long as the Epic ink, but I do like to use it occasionally for this instance if I'm in a time crunch. Once you're satisfied with your eyelids being covered, time to cover up those dark circles from not enough sleep with black eyeliner. You do want to be careful around the white line that you made under your eyes, and obviously you want to be careful towards the outer edge where you made your initial line. You can also clean this up as you go, but just don't go too crazy. If your eyelids are anything like mine, you're going to have to reapply that liquid eyeliner even though you did put a base down with eye primer. It's just how things are on my eyelids. I go over it again with my liquid eyeliner, and then I'm going to set it with powder soon. This is also the time to make the eye mask larger if you feel like it needs to be. Clean up the shape if you need to. Just make it to how you want it. Now we're going to set down all of that liquid eyeliner with eyeshadow. This is a black single eyeshadow from Milani. It is also from the drugstore. Almost everything in this is from the drugstore, by the way, so you don't feel the need to go buy expensive makeup to do this. The black eyeshadow is definitely the most important step for making your eyelids nice and opaque. You can see that there's still some bits of my skin peeking through the liquid eyeliner on my eyelid, but once I set it down with plenty of black eyeshadow, you won't be able to see my skin anymore through that, and also it's gonna stay for hours. I'm not kidding. It does stay on my face for like an entire day. Of course, also make sure to carefully set the black eyeshadow on the liquid eyeliner below your eye as well. But when it comes to the inner corners and the outer corners, when you're trying to be very, very neat, switch away from the flat shader brush to something like an angled liner brush. I'm using some brushes from Eco Tools. I also have been using some brushes from Real Techniques in this video. They're both affordable makeup brush brands, and I would absolutely recommend them. Once you're satisfied with your eyes, move on to powdering your face. I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Set and Smooth powder. I really like it. It is smooth and it does set your foundation very well. If you have oily skin, you absolutely want to do this step. If you have drier skin, you can use a pretty light hand depending on how oily you think you're going to get throughout the day. I use much more powder on my skin for cosplay looks than I do in my everyday life because I know that I'm probably not going to be able to touch up my face very often with cosplay. I'm also probably wearing the makeup for many more hours than I would in a normal day. If you need to clean up the edges of your mask, take a bit of concealer on a small angled brush and run it along the outside of the mask. If you think your face is looking a little wild, take out some blush. I'm using the Tarte blush in the shade Exposed, which is a pretty neutral mauve color. It's also not super bright, and I just run that on the apples of my cheeks, and then I bring it up a little bit on my cheekbones, almost like contouring. The point of blush is to bring back a little bit of flush into your face that you may have masked out with foundation. While of course I'm covering up redness on my face with foundation, that doesn't mean I want absolutely zero redness on my face. I just want it in a particular area of my face, not all over the face. It's a little subtle, and if I'm being honest, if I'm like really in a time crunch in a hotel room on the way to a shoot, I will skip this step, but I think it's nice. Now that the face is done, grab some setting spray. I swear setting spray is actually helpful, especially if you have dry skin. It makes powders look less powdery. And it gives you like a nice dewy look, which will look less dewy as it goes on. Right now it's just that my face is literally wet. I was using the MAC Fix Plus setting spray. It is a little on the pricier side, so if you want a more affordable option, I can recommend the Catrice Dewy setting spray. Once your face is dry, we're gonna move on to the eyebrows. This is the Kat Von D brow pomade. Now, I feel bad because I feel like I can't recommend this ever since it came out publicly that Kat Von D is an anti-vaxxer. She does not believe in vaccines, and I don't want to support a makeup brand led by somebody who has that opinion. That said, it is a really solid brow pomade that comes in some very unnatural colors. This is the magenta one, and it actually matches my ink color for my squid pretty well because I do the dark pink squid. I also follow the natural shape of my brow instead of doing the weird short and stubby eyebrows in Splatoon. I tried that once and I just didn't like how it looked on me, so now I follow the shape of my brow and I will usually make my brows a little bit longer and bigger. Next up is mascara. This is the CoverGirl Exhibitionist mascara. Honestly, most drugstore mascaras are great, so just pick whatever works for you or ask a friend what works for them if you're totally new to makeup. We're honestly not even going to use that much mascara. It's just that when we have all this black on our eyelids and around the eyes, if your eyelashes aren't naturally black, they're gonna stand out a bit. So you just want to put about one coat of mascara just to make them darker. You don't have to make them big or curly, just darker. The eyes are completely done, and now we're moving on to lips. This is, yet again, an item from NYX. This is one of their lip liners. You want to choose a nude color. You notice that none of the squids, or at least none of the player squids, have particularly dark lips. They're not super pink, they're not super nude. Just choose a color that works for you. This is essentially a nude pink color. It's a light pink that isn't too saturated. And what I do is first I line the outer parts of my lips and then I go over the entire thing. So you want to make sure that lip pencil is completely covering your natural lip color. I like to go for a glossy look for my Splatoon lips, so this is the NYX Butter Gloss. There's a lot of NYX in here. I can't help it. I really like the brand. It's nice and affordable, and it just works well. This is one of the butter glosses. They're, I think, around $5, and they come in a bunch of shades. I want to say that this is Tiramisu, which isn't too pink, it's not too brown. Again, it's a nice nude color. If you don't want the glossy look, you could probably just leave this at the lip pencil. But if you do want that bit of shine on the center lip, then put on a gloss. And that's everything. Throw on the wig, get on your hat, get your gear, and you are good to go. I hope this tutorial was helpful, whether you want to cosplay from Splatoon now or in a year from now. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. Tell me who your favorite character in Splatoon is, what weapons you like to main. I'm clearly a dirty dually main. Thanks so much, everybody. Stay fresh, stay off the hook. You know the deal. I'll see you in another video. Thanks, bye.